exit. Is Prost still out in with the advantage? Into the pits comes Catherine Legg. Here now is Nico Prost. He's got Nick Heidfeld behind him, and the app guys are coming out behind. So that's Lucas di Grassi coming out just behind Nick Heidfeld. Then it's going to be Frank Montani. Then it is the other app car of Daniel Abt. And then out of the pit lane comes Nelson Piquet Jr. So Sam Bird is in the lead of the race. And is this going to be a different strategy, just one lap different perhaps to get a full power lap in on your in-lap? That's going to be very, very interesting to see.
He's pushing like hell. But here's the thing now, if you pull out of your pit stop and then you slow down to do the minimum time and hold the rest of the field up,
that's interesting. That's a very good point actually, and that might be why the Venturi car was going a little slow in the hands of Nick Heidfeld, just trying to gain that track position as the cars filter their way out of the pit lane. Catherine Legg now heading out onto the circuit. Sam Bird comes in then to do his pit stop, so let's see where he comes out. He was running down in 6th position when they came into the pits, and it'll be very interesting to see where he comes on the way out. What was his in-lap times like? Not particularly quick, so he certainly didn't go for it on his in-lap, should we say, but it is still Nico Prost at the moment who is in the net lead of the race in the Edams Cup.
Depends where the timing line is as well, doesn't it?
Yeah.
If it's halfway down the pit lane, it's going to have been on the speed limiter for quite a while. Nico Prost has got a good old lead now.
Yeah, the Edams team have done a very good job to get him out with a strong advantage. And a drive-through penalty has been given to the number 9 car of Sebastian Buemi for crossing the pit exit line. So when Buemi's day couldn't get any worse. Here comes Sam Bird then. He's heading out of the pit lane now. Our race leaders are just up in front of this group. It's Nico Prost. There he is in the Edams car. So it's a battle between he and Sam Bird. It's one of those two who are going to come out in the lead of the race, unless Charles Piquet's done something spectacular on his in-lap. And here is Prost coming down towards the final corner, the left-hander. Turn 20 on the circuit. Accelerates through, gets on the throttle onto Tianjin East Road, and he's going to retake the lead because there's Sam Bird in the pit lane on the right-hand side.
They say everything is bigger in Texas. And today, TLA Texas Showdown.
This kid is on fire!
Will the 12th ranked Bruins make their mark?
Car Championship, where competition is fierce and every decision matters, especially your tires. Where top teams like Porsche, Corvette, and BMW rely on Michelin tires to give them a winning edge. It's battleground for race drivers, the classroom for Michelin. Technology developed here powers street tires like the Michelin Pilot Sport All Season 3, delivering heart-pumping performance with confidence and control year-round.
It's Golden Corral's Great American Lobster Sale. Here's how it works. Go to Golden Corral for...
So, far from over.
Catherine Legg has been given a warning for track limits, which means she's going too far over the white lines at some points on the circuit. But here's the standings then. You can see Nico Prost in the lead of the race. That 3% was probably taken when he came into the pits that last time around. I imagine he has more battery than that. Second place for Nick Heidfeld with the Grassi in third. Frank Montani looking pretty racy to try and get around the back of Lucas di Grassi.
The impressive thing about Frank, as much as he was coming through the field, I expected to pit a couple of laps before everybody else, but he didn't. So it says a lot about the pace of Frank in that Andretti car. I'd be worried if I was these two guys in front of him because he's on a mission.
Kareem Chandler has just set the fastest final sector of anyone. He's now just half a second behind Sam Bird in the battle over 6th position. 17 now of 25. Not too far to go here in Beijing. We're on board with the 4th place man, Frank Montani, bouncing his way over those curves. A very successful racing driver, Frank Montani. He has had 4 podium finishes at Le Mans. He was a factory driver for Peugeot. He had 7 Formula 1 races actually with Super Aguri back in 2006, a double Formula Nissan champion, which was the precursor to the Formula Renault 3.5 series that we have today. You can see he's got 71% of factory remaining. He gets on the regen into the braking zone.
He drove the Andretti sports car 2008 as well, the little Acura V2 car. He drove that for a while, and that's where the relationship started with the Andretti team. hear he's kind of lifting there at the end of the braking zone before he starts to brake, before he hits the regen as well. So he's trying to save a little bit whilst staying close to the cars in front.
A drive-through penalty has been given to Michele Cerruti for the Trulli team for a pit stop time infringement. And so that's a shame for Michele. She's in 14th place at the moment, but that'll drop her further back in the field.
The Trulli guys are just having a bad day, aren't they?
Yeah.
It's just not. It's not been a nice start from testing to now. But they'll definitely regroup and figure it out.
And there is Michele Cerruti then, who, as I say, running in 14th place, will have to serve that drive-through penalty within the next couple of laps or so. And it's a real shame because she's had a difficult day after that accident in free practice, really put on the back foot. She only had one car for the second free practice session. There's Prost coming through the chicane, and the chasing pack are closing in. Half a second on that last lap they took out of Nico Prost, but as you say, he's just sort of consolidating his advantage now, I imagine.
I would hope so. In that position, that's certainly what I'd be doing, just managing that gap as much as you can, and keep something for if you need it in those last couple of laps. Just keep something in your pocket in case you've got to get on it and demoralise the boys, the guys that are chasing you at the end.
Frank Montani still tucked right up behind Lucas Di Grassi as we come into turn 14.
You don't want Frank behind you, closing in with a couple of laps to go, because he won't be making a move, trust me.
And it's quite a distinctive helmet, isn't it? I can imagine looking in your mirror and seeing that bright pink helmet coming at you, and so high up in the cockpit.
I was going to say, he sits so high in the car anyway, you definitely see him. You definitely see him coming along there.
So close to the back of Lucas Di Grassi as we come towards the final corner. So let's listen to see whether he does come off earlier than he brakes as we get to the braking zone. Okay, so that was a more swift change, so that presumably means he's pushing harder as Michael Andretti watches on. 8 laps to go here in Beijing. A look to the inside from Montani, but he's still not quite close enough. Nico Prost leading the way for Edam. Second place is Nick Heidfeld for Venturi. Third is Lucas Di Grassi. And this man that we're on board with now for Andretti is for Frank Montani. It's only 0.8 of a second between Heidfeld and Di Grassi, but it's also only 2.2 seconds between race leader Nico Prost and second place man Nick Heidfeld. So they're all starting to close in now on race leader Prost.
That was an 8/10 swing on that lap. About to get interesting here. The problem when that starts happening, if you're not mentally strong enough, you start looking in the mirrors and start, it's a vicious circle and it just keeps going down.
Here you can see the time in pits, and 1:47 was the time set by Nico Prost in the pit lane, which was the limit that they were set. So absolutely nailed it there, the Edam squad.
Perfection from the Edam's guys, well drilled, and Jean-Paul Drio runs a tight ship there, and you can see that there.
That must be difficult for them because they're right at the start of the pit lane, so they've got to judge it perfectly. Sebastian Buemi has been in, and he basically went out, turned it up full chat and set the fastest lap and has come into the pits now. So it looks as though he will, at the moment as it stands, have the fastest lap time, which will give him 2 points in the championship at least, but he's not going to get any more than that.
No, that's all he could do. That was the maximum he could do there. So the quickest car there, Nick Heidfeld, 46.8, about a second behind Buemi's fastest lap.
This is Karun Chandok and Sam Bird doing battle. Chandok's been reeling him in over the past couple of laps. We go on board with the Indian coming towards turn 19. Is he feeling brave enough to look up the inside into 19? He does, but Sam Bird's gone wide. That could give Chandok the opportunity. Now down into the final corner of turn 20. Goes to the inside. Sam Bird's going to squeeze him. It really narrows down as we come up here towards this left-hander, but Chandok gets through and is up into 6th place, and he initially going into 19, you thought, oh, he's in a bit of no man's land, but he pressured Bird into the error.
Yeah, nice setup on the pass there, especially going into turn 20. There's a bigger bump on the inside than the outside, and he did a good job to hold it all together there.
And there's the family looking very pleased in the pit lane.
Quite right too.
With that pass, so Karun Chandok moving up into 6th position. Here's a look at the replay again, and well, let's have a look at the bumps as they come into the braking zone, Dario.
Yeah, Sam was quite nice, didn't squeeze him too hard, but you see how hard that Karun hit the bumps there, but didn't lock up, kept it under control, and a really nice pass, well set up a couple of corners in advance there.
Yeah, that was just after the setup had happened, and he looked to the inside line and managed to get through as Sam Bird hits the apex at turn 19. So good drive this from Karun Chandok.
While all that's going on though, they're still catching. Heidfeld is catching Nicola Frost and down 1.3 seconds now.
Yeah, it's getting very, very close to the lead of the race. You can see Heidfeld's made up 3 positions on this lap. Heidfeld second place. He's used 50%. Nico Frost's battery percentage to have seen has been 3% since he made his pit stop. So we don't believe that one is particularly correct, but nevertheless, Nick Heidfeld is right with the back of Nico Frost now as they turn into the left-hander. Grassi and Jarno in clear air has just set the fastest middle sector of anyone, but he's 2 seconds behind Daniel Abt. But the battle for the lead of the race is very much on here in Formula E with just, well, 5 laps to go when they cross the line in a few seconds' time. Heidfeld looking racy.
Absolutely. Psychologically, this is the worst thing that can happen. You've been leading the race all day, second place is coming along. And if you look at the rear wings, I'd say the Venturi was running less downforce than the Edam's car.
Interesting. So that'll be worth keeping an eye on when they get close to one another in the straight. Frank Montani there running in 4th place.
I'd say Frank was running the least of any of those cars.
Okay, so it's worth keeping an eye on, as I say, as we look at the back of the lead of the race. Nico Frost is in the lead. And initially, all bit of a lock-up from Heidfeld as he starts to push now. But it's going to be so difficult to want to push the hardest to win the race, but you can't do it. You can't do it. You've got to use your battery properly.
Well, you can push as far as your driving style, but just stay away from the power knob there, because that's going to get you in trouble. It's like the old turbo boost knobs from the old Group C cars back in the day. They'll get you in trouble.
And there's Michaela Ceruti making her way around. Nico Frost closing in then. And in fact, all of the top 4 are right with each other. And, well, there was in Formula 1 as well, you used to have an overtake button, didn't you? That give you more fuel, therefore more power. You could only use it 5 times, but drivers would keep using it, and they'd run out of power on the final laps. So we go on board again then with Nick Heidfeld in 2nd position. There you can see it's Lucas de Grassi in 3rd with Frank Montani behind in 4th spot.
Look how that car's dancing on the brakes there on the way into the chicane.
Just 7/10 of a second. Nico Frost did his personal best first sector. We're looking at Oriol Sevilla going past Nelson Piquet Jr. and taking 9th place away. This is coming up into turn 19. Does Fumasada follow through? No, he's not quite close enough to get involved in that action. Big moment there for Piquet Jr. and he might lose out to Stefan Sarazan now. Sarazan looks to the inside line and he's got Jerome D'Ambrosio right behind as well. So I wonder if Piquet Jr. is running out of power towards the end of this race because he has really had to back off.
Look how much Serbia has gapped him and Sato as well, just in that couple of corners. So obviously something's going on there.
Here comes the look from Jerome D'Ambrosio in the Dragon car. Not quite close enough to make the move on Stefan Sarazan. A drive-through penalty for Catherine Legg in the Amna Naguri car for crossing the pit exit line. But she is running in 14th place at the moment, so will maybe not lose any positions. Still, 4 laps to go, and the battle for the lead of the race is down to just half a second. Look at the 25 laps of racing, and the top, 7 cars are pretty much all in one shot. 8.7 seconds covers the top 7 cars at the end of this race.
It's closing up nicely here for the fans at home watching. I bet Frost was wishing it wasn't right now.
Absolutely, as the action is watched in the Andretti garage. Frank Montani running in 4th spot at the moment. Charles Pic has just done his personal best in the first sector, but he's 6 seconds behind Sam Bird. There's the order then on the left-hand side of the screen. Frost, Heidfeld, Grassi, Montani, Abt, Chandok and Bird covered by 8.7 seconds with only 4 laps to go. Nerves in the Venturi pit. They know they could win the first ever Formula E race, and what an event it would be for Venturi, the team that's been co-founded by Leonardo DiCaprio, the car manufacturer that holds the electric land speed record at 307 miles an hour. What a string to their bow it would be to win the first ever Formula E race.
I think all these teams have worked so hard to get to this point that it can mean a lot to any of them here. You can see how much it does. It'd be interesting to see Frank Montani can make some progress here because he's dropped back just a wee bit.
Fastest final sector of anyone throughout the whole race for Nick Heidfeld. So So he is starting to push with 3 laps to go. Nico Prost up in front of him. And as you say, Lucas di Grassi and Frank Montani have just dropped back a little bit from these two. So maybe these two can afford to get a little bit more power in these remaining laps. We've got laps 23, 24 and 25 to go here in Beijing.
Just $1 million question. Who's got slightly more battery power left? That's who's going to be able to push it, because as far as the handling of the cars and the performance of the drivers, they're very, very equal. It's who's just going to be able to turn it up just a wee bit, enough to make that pass, or in Prost's case, stay ahead.
So the pressure as well is going to be worth looking at. There's pressure as the father watches on. Alain Prost, 4 times Formula 1 world champion. The Venturi guys enjoyed watching Prost under pressure. I think
who's ever seen that before? Alain Prost looking nervous. I don't think I've ever seen that in all those years I've watched him racing.
Flashing through along Hujing Street, down towards the Feichong chicane, through the left, through the right, and out again.
That was close. Heidfeld there on the exit wall. That was, I think he overextended a wee bit through the middle.
Just under 9/10 of a second separating first and second place. We're about to start the penultimate lap of the race. It looks like it's going to be one of those two that will take victory. Lucas di Grassi not looking great on power. Well, he's got just a bit more than his chaser Frank Montani.
Out. Right there.
Yeah, he's right with him as they come out onto the start-finish straight. Penultimate lap, just 0.6 of a second between our race leaders here in Formula E. One of these two men is going to go down in history as the first ever all-electric single-seater race winner, Nico Prost or Nick Heidfeld.
Now, both these guys drive for Rebellion.
Yes, yes. In fact, were they not teammates this year when they won in LMP2
they might be.
at Le Mans? So they know each other very well. They know their driving styles very well.
Could come into play here in a wee minute. We'll see what happens.
Out they come towards the chicanes again on National Stadium Road. The South National Stadium Road, and Heidfeld starting to push, isn't he? A bit of a bounce there. Nico Prost knows it because he's just gone purple in the first sector, which means he's fastest of anyone. Takuma Sato has just set the fastest lap of the race. So Sato might be in line to pick up those 2 points for fastest lap. But if the sun begins to set here in Beijing, the sun will set on one of these two drivers as the winner of the Formula E race.
Oh, Buemi's day goes from bad to worse.
Yeah, exactly. Nothing more that Sebastian Buemi can do. He is in the pits and out of the race. But his teammate Nico Prost has the chance to take victory for the EDAMS team. Out through the chicane again, towards 19. We've only got 1 lap to go.
He's going to try and set him up, isn't he? If you're Heidfeld, you're going to have to set him up and gradually gain on him through about 3 or 4 corners, probably trying to get him, even in the last corner. It might come down to the last corner, the last lap. You're setting him up the whole rest of the lap just to get close enough.
Down towards the final corner they come as we get ready to go for the penultimate lap. A lock-up on the left front from Heidfeld as he starts to push again. Well, I say starts to push, he's been pushing the whole race, but across the line they come. Is there any difference in the gap between them? No, still just 0.6 of a second. The Chinese fans have got all their smartphones and tablets at the ready to picture the moment that the first Formula E race is won here in Beijing.
If he's going to do a move, he's got to start getting closer just at this point of the lap. Coming out, probably actually out at the turn 13 chicane is when that move is going to really start sort of building. The cars are so close together, you can't just, in terms of performance, you can't jump on them. You're going to have to build up to that.
Through the left-hander of 6.
Prost was on the limit. Did you see the rear slide in there from the mid to exit through that turn 6?
Really pushing hard, and these two guys have done a very good job of managing their battery, but the fact that they've still got this sort of pace, whereas the likes of di Grassi and Montani and Daniel Abt are all dropping back a little bit. But here we go, out through towards turn 14. There's only 3 corners to go. 3 corners separate Nico Prost and victory. Into the left-hander he comes now. All very neat and tidy, and Heidfeld's got to push.
They've done a brilliant job, these two, keeping the momentum up better than the other guys, using the momentum rather than using more battery power. And conserving energy is one thing, but they've been driving the hell out of cars all day.
Through the chicane. 2 more corners to go now in the FIA Formula E race here in Beijing. There's still just 0.6 of a second between first and second, but it looks as though Nico Prost may just have enough. He comes through turn 19, 1 turn to go. Heidfeld's closing in as they come towards the final corner at turn 20. Is Heidfeld going to fancy a look into the last corner of the race? Heidfeld goes to the inside line. Charles Pic, but a shake of the head from Alain Prost. There is Nico Prost out of the car, and he goes as if to say, what happened there? Takuma Sato set the fastest lap of the race, and there is Nick Heidfeld clambering out of his Venturi car.
It's good to see.
It's fantastic to see Nick Heidfeld climbing out. Not really the test we wanted, and I think we might have a bit of a conversation here between these two. And Nick Heidfeld not impressed with that.
I'd love to see that again, because they got alongside and then there was a big swerve in one direction or the other. I'd love to see a replay to see which one swerved at which there, because that was it was a great build-up to the move that we talked about.
It was all coming, wasn't it? It was all... Well, we got a climax here, but the victory was Lucas di Grassi, who was many people's favourite for victory. Probably not on the... was he your pick?
I picked him after qualified, didn't I?
You did actually, so fair enough. Credit where credit's due. And so a dramatic end to the Formula E race here in Beijing. Here we go. This is on board, coming down towards the final corner. Heidfeld goes to the inside, and I mean that's... Ideally, we didn't want to put the crash structures on these Formula E cars for the test, but we have done. But I think there's very little debate about what happened there.
Yeah, I mean, Prost just swerved him, which is a real shame. He drove a perfect race up until that point. And glad Heidfeld's okay. That's a little bit too familiar for me, that going up into the fence business there. But when a car gets airborne like that, there's more luck involved than anything. And to see both drivers come back is really good to see that.
So
great job by di Grassi.
Yeah, Lucas di Grassi is the race winner here in the FIA Formula E Championship, the first ever race in Beijing. Frank Montani is in second place, so he got past... no, he was always in front of Daniel Abt in the closing stages, wasn't he? So he finishes in second. The Venturi guys coming to speak to Nick Heidfeld, who understandably is furious. And there's Nico Prost walking back a little sheepish. So we may hear from them, but we'll certainly hear from our race winner Lucas di Grassi when he gets back to the pits. Third for Daniel Abt, then fourth for Sam Bird, fifth for Charles Pic, sixth for Karun Chandok, and there is the real wreckage of the Venturi car.
Good day for the Andretti guys, and of course the Abt guys. Both cars finishing up there in their cases.
And there's the story of the race.